Yes, that's right. Okay, so just relax. You just heard Pastor say it. Just catch that breath, okay? God's always going to be there. I promise you. I promise you that much. I don't know much else about anything. I know this. I'm a moron. Everybody knows this. No, it's true. I thought Hamlet was something you ordered with home fries and toast. Let me get a 3-cheese Hamlet. Anyways, it's the Pete O'Shea Show here on your neighborhood inspiration station, AM 1110 WTIS. I'm Pete. Ivan with me on the board. Again, we're video streaming live on Facebook. We got a whole bunch of cool new people here because our next guest has their own following and everything. Sydney from Tulsa and Melissa from Chicago, Sherry over in Arkansas, Sila in California, Jamie in Wisconsin, Priscilla in Texas, Jen over there in Alabama hanging out, Tina all the way up there in Ontario, Canada. Tina, that's not bacon you guys are telling us. That's ham, okay? Don't even play me with that Canadian bacon. All right, Mindy from Guam, all the way from Guam, Cecilia in Canada, Laredo in Arizona, Audrey in California, Cece all the way from Argentina, and Kylie. You guys are following all over the world, don't you, girl? And Kylie all the way in Australia. Our next guest, the book is coming out, the end of this week, right? In a couple weeks, right?
November.
In November, all right. It's going to be called Miracle in My Living Room. Evelyn Mann wrote the book. She's here with us right now. Evelyn, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, you are. All right, tell us the book, The Miracle in My Living Room. Tell us what it's about.
The Miracle in My Living Room is a story about my son who was born with a rare form of dwarfism. A lot of people have heard of dwarfism, but they may not know there's over 200 different kinds.
Wow, I didn't know that, no.
Yeah, so my son has what they consider to be a lethal form of dwarfism. It's called thanatophoric dysplasia. So thanatophoric in Greek means death-bringing. So as you can imagine, that's not the best news parents want to find out when you're having your first child. So my husband and I went to our sonogram appointment to find out if we were having a boy or a girl, and that's when we found out he was growing slow. His arms and legs were growing behind, and at that point we knew something was off a little bit, but I didn't think it was too bad. Went to a high-level sonogram appointment, and that's when they said it's really bad. As a matter of fact, the doctor just dropped his head, and he was very sad, and I felt like I needed to cheer him up. He looked so sad. But it was because it could have been 3 different kinds of types of dwarfism. All of them were lethal, so there wasn't much hope at that point.
At that point?
At that point.
But that's not how the story continues, is it?
No, it is not.
No, go ahead.
It is not. We left that appointment with a feeling that we should have been devastated, hearing that it could be a lethal type of diagnosis. But when we left the meeting, I felt a peace that I had never had before. It reminds me of a verse I wrote down here. It says, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus."
I use that one every day. I use that one every day.
I lived it that day.
Sure you did.
It was really amazing that even though we had heard this, that peace came over me. And my husband and I went to lunch. And at lunch I asked him if I told him what happened, that I had this peace. And he said, "You know what, so did I." He had the same peace. We had it at the same time. And it was just amazing to me. And I just stored it in my heart because of what I had heard.
Okay.
We went to doctor's appointments, and it was all continuing to be bad news. And I ended up in the hospital on bed rest for 4 weeks. I kept on calling at the hotel because they were feeding me. So, but during that time, they were trying to find Samuel. I was very big. There was a lot of amniotic fluid.
Okay.
So they couldn't find him. But one time they did find him, and he was on the sonogram with a pout.
He was pouting?
He was pouting. It was so cute. Just this little big pout. So those little moments of inspiration came.
Of joy. It was a moment of joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when Samuel was born, there must have been at least 10 people in the delivery room, and there was a doctor on each side of me. And Samuel was born not crying. I was praying that I would hear him cry at birth, but that didn't happen. They brought him to me, and I saw this little wrinkled face, crying, but no sound. And they whisked him off, and they took him into the neonatal intensive care unit. They were so concerned for his life that they actually took me up into the NICU with me still in my hospital bed. And
because they were worried he wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, they were worried he wasn't going to make it, and they wanted me to see him.
Yeah.
So that was really sweet. But he made it that first day, and he was kicking the second day and the third day. They put him on something called an oscillator. It's a very intensive kind of ventilator.
Okay.
It pushes breaths in 200 times a minute. It was so intensive he had to be put on morphine.
Wow.
So it was like that for a week. I had someone tell me that they didn't think that he would get off of the...
he would have breathed on his own again.
That he wouldn't even get off the oscillator.
Right.
And I just, again, going back to that piece I told you about, I just felt like...
Because God was with you through the whole thing, yeah.
It was like water just kind of going off my back. I heard everything. It's not that I didn't hear. It just didn't hit the mark. So then he came off the oscillator a week later. And then it was the challenge of getting him on a home ventilator to get him home. Because they still didn't know how long he would make it. But month 1, month 2, month 3, he actually spent 6 months in the hospital, trying to get off of a hospital grade ventilator onto a home ventilator. So it was touch and go. We almost lost him 3 times in the hospital because one was a equipment failure. He had a little plug that was plugging up the trach that he has. He has a trach and a G tube, and then a nurse said his oxygen and his heart rate was dropping so fast she couldn't get in there fast enough, but she saved him to bring him back. So we had these close calls, and it was just like a daily battle. I talk about a lot of that in the book, and just how God was with us really the whole time. There was one time they thought he wasn't going to make it. There was a plug. They actually reserved a room for us in the hospital so that we could be near our son, so that, if anything happened, we'd be right there. And even though they did that, again, we had this knowing that he was going to be okay. I know it sounds crazy.
It doesn't sound crazy to me at all. Not one bit. Because God was there with you the whole time.
Yeah, it was really a challenge during that time because I was working, and I was going to the hospital in the morning, at lunchtime, after work.
Wow.
They would have to kick me out because I didn't want to leave at night. So, but that's part of being there for your child and advocating.
Sure, of course, because again, you had to always be the advocate to make sure he was getting everything that he needed. So because again, it's not that they didn't want to help, but the diagnosis was that there wasn't going to be much there. That it wasn't going to last very long. That he wasn't going to live.
Right.
But that's not how it went.
Well, no, and there are only 7 to 8 survivors of this diagnosis worldwide. So their reasoning for sharing that with us was valid.
Right, sure it was.
The diagnosis was correct, but the outcome wasn't.
That's right.
And the outcome was God's outcome.
That's right.
So He performed a miracle in having my son live and continue to live.
And he's how old now?
He's 11 years old.
Yeah, he is. He's 11 years old now. That's God, boys and girls.
Yeah, I know we're on Facebook.
You can put it right there. Yeah, sure. Go
There's
ahead.
a picture of Samuel, a couple weeks old. That's before he had the ventilator, the tracheostomy. Sorry. And here's another picture. So those of you who are watching on Facebook can see that hoses and wires everywhere. And eventually he had a tracheostomy put in. But what's really amazing about Samuel is you see the hoses and the wires, but they all just kind of disappear.
Yeah, they did.
You just see him.
When we walked outside and we were talking there, I didn't see hoses and wire. I saw the big smile he gave me. That's what I got.
Yeah, that's because he likes you.
All right. I got a big smile. And again, this is something that provides hope and encouragement for others. All right, that you were told that this was lethal, that he was going to die from this. Yes. And God said, no, that's not why I sent Samuel here. And Samuel has a mission to play here in this world also. He has a divine destiny. He has a purpose. And that divine destiny is to encourage and inspire others by the mere fact that he has outlived that diagnosis by 10 plus years and more, and for more to come.
Yes.
And that's what it's supposed to be for, to encourage and inspire folks.
I think when I was pregnant, hope was kind of hard to find.
Of course it was, after you hear all that.
Yeah. It was, again, that piece that we had that day, I hung on to that. But I want to provide that for other people going through a similar diagnosis, or even other special needs moms, because hope is a precious is a precious thing, and no pregnant woman should ever be without hope.
The world is in short supply of it overall, okay? Hopelessness runs rampant. The enemy is doing his level best, and we just were talking about Pastor Bill. This is the worst spiritual warfare the world has ever known. So, it's tough. It is tough. But here's what we're supposed to do as Christians. If I got extra hope today, I lend you some. I give you some. Here, have a cup of hope, All right, and so that's what you're doing with this book. So then before I go to break, I want to ask you this question. Writing the book, that's the goal, to provide that hope and encouragement.
Yes.
But was it cathartic for you to kind of relive it a little bit again and kind of see it now from a little bit of a distance instead of being right in it the way you were when it was all happening?
It's funny. Probably the first half of the book, not so much, but when I got into some of the more challenging times when he could have passed away, I came away from that writing time shaken a little bit, and
Sure.
It surprised me, because up until that point it wasn't. I was just doing my best to share the story, and my husband took notes during that time, so I had all those notes from all the things that happened, so I was kind of following along. But when I had to relive him almost passing, yeah, that was hard.
All right, here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to go to nowpra.com/products/miracle, and I want you to pre-order your copy of the book right now. It's called A Miracle in My Living Room. It's coming out in just like 10 days, 12 days, whatever it is, 15 days, whatever it is.
It's
November 21st. You still
Okay,
have 2
don't
weeks.
embarrass me and correct me by how wrong I was with that. It's a lot of days. No, it's not a lot of days. November 21st it's coming out, but you can pre-order your copy right now. Okay, and that's really important right now in the publishing world, so please go and do that, because there is hope in this. There is encouragement in this. And don't tell me there's no one you know that doesn't need that, okay? So maybe things are going well for you. You know somebody who needs that book, so buy it for them. So what we're going to do now is take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Evelyn more about this book, and really how God was there the whole time. You heard us say they were at peace. Have you ever had that happen to you? Somebody tells you some really bad news, but you find yourself at peace? It's because God dispatched guardian angels and the Holy Spirit to you immediately. That's why. And that's what happened to them. That's what's going to happen to you. And that's what you need to believe in, and that's why you need to get this book. We'll be back. We'll talk more with Evelyn right after this. Remember, guys, I love you, and I love Jesus. Hey, guys, welcome back. So glad you're here with us on the Pete O'Shea Show. It's here for you. It's on your neighborhood inspiration station, AM 1110 WTIS. After this, Pastor Anthony McDaniel. But right now, we're talking to Evelyn Mann. She has written a book that's coming out on November 21st called Miracle in My Living Room, about her son Samuel, who was told, they were told when he was born, they had a rare form of dwarfism that was lethal, that was fatal, that he wasn't going to make it. Several times, he almost didn't make it. There were times where he was this close to death. But God was there throughout it. God was there throughout it. And they had peace when they were given the diagnosis, because they had that hope. They had that faith. They had that relationship with the Lord. And to this day now, Samuel is an inspiration and encouragement and empowerment to all of us. Hope is there. But more importantly, here's the part we want to talk about now with Evelyn. Miracles still happen every single day. We hear the big ones in the Bible. He parted the sea. He did this. A bush burnt. This thing, that thing. And that's what people associate with miracles, and they don't believe miracles happen today. Tell them that they in fact do.
Well, what's really interesting, before all this happened, I loved to read stories about miracles and hear these things happening all over, read books about miracles, but it never had happened to me. And then when Samuel survived this rare form of dwarfism, and now he's 11 years old, I can actually say there is a miracle in my living room.
Yeah, there is.
That's the name of the book.
Yeah.
But I can say to someone that miracles can happen. They still happen today, and I can say with confidence that they can happen to you.
Right. A lot of people think, well, I'm not worthy, or it's not going to happen to me. That happens to somebody else. And that happens when it has a big impact for the whole world or something like that. No, God makes miracles happen to anyone. It's really about believing and having faith in that, somebody yesterday said to me, well, this isn't happening. I was waiting for it and praying for it. I'm like, yeah, but you don't believe it yet. I can hear from how you're saying it in your voice. God doesn't answer a prayer based on need or want. Faith, that's what he answers the prayer on. So when you believe in your heart he can move the mountain, watch that mountain get moved. That's really what it comes down to, and that miracle can and will happen. For anybody out there right now who's listening, who's saying, yeah, but I've been sick for 10 years, or I haven't worked in 5 years, or I got this problem or that problem, I can't stop drinking, I can't stop using drugs. When you believe with everything you got that he's ready to do that he's going to do that miracle for you, that's when it's going to happen. And they do happen. Miracles still do happen every single day. I am a miracle, I know.
I agree. And miracles also, it's on timing, right? Because when Samuel was born, I know his story wasn't ready to be told because he was still in the midst of it. He
Correct.
was still in the middle of, when we came home, we had 24-hour nursing for several years. He couldn't be off the ventilator even for seconds because if he did, he turned blue. We had to be there constantly watching him and making sure he was okay. So the time wasn't ready. Well, a couple of years ago is what I call the second miracle. He came off of his ventilator. And of the children that are surviving this, the 6 or 7 worldwide that have this diagnosis, a handful, Samuel's the only one who's not on a ventilator. And
Wow.
That's what I call the second miracle.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the second miracle.
It is the second miracle.
Okay, so in other words, he was able to come. He was here. He's here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that wouldn't happen if he was still on the ventilator. He wouldn't be able to even get out of the house, right?
Well, when we came home with the ventilator, I didn't want to leave the house. My husband said, "Let's go to the park." I said, "No, I don't want to go to the park. I didn't want to go anywhere." We would do church in shifts. He would go and one day, and I would go another because I didn't want to leave him, my son. I didn't want to take him out of the house at all. So when he was 3 years old, Make-A-Wish, we were nominated for a wish with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. That meant we were going to Orlando for a week. Guess what? We had to leave the house.
Yeah. At that point, Orlando ain't coming to you. So
Yeah,
you
no,
gotta. Yeah, you
we
gotta.
had to
Yeah.
leave the house.
Yeah, yeah.
They brought a huge stretch limo over to take us to Orlando, and we spent a week in Orlando. And there's this one moment, it's completely surreal. We're standing in the middle of Disney, and there's this lake. And Samuel's sleeping in the stroller, and he has a fan on to keep him cool, and the ventilator's going, and I'm standing there going, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Are we crazy? Are we absolutely nuts? We're crazy parents. What are we doing with this medically needy child in the middle of Disney? If he needs an ambulance, what's going to happen? And all of a sudden I just stopped and I looked, and he was fine. He was okay. And it taught me to get out of my comfort zone and let Samuel experience life a little more.
But what another great life lesson that you're sharing in the book and telling us that right now. We all have to do that. We all have to trust him, get out of our comfort zone, and say, okay, God, I got to trust you that if we go and do this, that he's going to be okay. We can't trust on our own understanding. We can't trust on our own what we want. Because, again, you'd never left the house again.
No, we wouldn't have done half the things. We came back, and then we went to the zoo, and we went to the aquarium, and all those things we wouldn't have done. Now we take trips. We went to Niagara Falls a couple of years ago.
Awesome.
And I was so, how do I describe this? Amazed to be in this incredible, famous place with my son. And he was off the ventilator at that time. And I was just nervous. The next day I relaxed, I calmed down, but it was surreal. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, it was.
It was surreal.
All right, what's the big final message? You want to say to somebody out there listening right now who's going through something even remotely similar to this, what would you say to them?
Never give up hope. Grab it where you can, either, from me or other people or from books or just anywhere. Just grab hope. Sometimes the medical community can't give that hope because in my son's case, the diagnosis did say it was lethal. So go where else? I had people praying in my church for my son all the time, praying for everything we were going through. Get people around you to pray for you. And then believe that nothing's impossible with God, that miracles happen. I think that's huge. And I know it sounds weird and it may sound outside to someone hearing it, but miracles do happen and they can happen to you. And it's close to my heart because I live with a miracle every day.
And again, get the chance now to share that. Miracle in My Living Room, which is coming out November 21st. I want you to go to nowpra.com/products/miracle and pre-order your copy right now. So as soon as it comes off the line, you've got the first copy. Because this is something that you can't wait for. You've got to see yourself, wait a second, there is hope still? Wait, there are miracles? Yes, there are, okay? And this is just another example of that. So you get now to share that with other people. That's going to feel really good, okay? When the first person sends you a letter that you gave them hope again, and there's going to be lots and lots of them, by the way, young lady, okay? So get ready for them. You better get another room in the house just for all the mail you're going to be getting, okay? All right? It feels really good, okay? And you'll know at that point that the book, everything you went through, there was a purpose to it, and there's a divine destiny that Samuel still has to play to provide this hope, to provide this encouragement, to let people know miracles do happen. That's still to come for you guys.
There is actually a lady in Japan right now who's pregnant with a TD baby. She's the U.S. military, and she's trying to get back to the United States to have her son here. So, and we contacted each other about 5 days ago. And she's doing a fundraiser trying to get money to come back to the States. So yeah, this is amazing. I got calls from Turkey. I got calls from Thailand over the years. So they found me through my blog, and now hopefully they'll find me through the book.
Oh, they're going to find you through the book, and this is going to change a lot of lives. I'm going to speak that into the declarative in your world right now for you. All right, the good Lord is telling me to tell you this, that you are going to change countless lives with this. And not just people that have this condition also or something similar, but anybody who's hopeless, anybody who doesn't believe in miracles are going to believe in miracles and have hope again after they read Miracle in My Living Room. So you've got that. That's got to feel good knowing that's still to come, doesn't it?
I'm very happy that the story's finally getting out. It's been 10 years, and this is the time. This is the right time.
It's God's time. And
Yeah,
again, like you said, early on it would have been too soon to write the book. Now you're at that point, you know, and you can write it, you get it out there, change the world with this book. That's what you're going to do.
Thank you.
So I want you to go to www.nowpra.com/products/miracle and pre-order your copy of Miracle in My Living Room by Evelyn Mann. It's something that you should not just get one copy. My suggestion is you buy a few, 4, 5, 6 of them, right? And you give them to all the people in your life, all the people that you love. Some of you know is down and out. You know that person you haven't talked to in 2 years and you can't remember why you're mad at that person? Send them that book with a little note, and then see what happens after that. See what our God can do after that. Evelyn, this is awesome. I want to thank you so much for coming on today. Totally inspiring and empowering us. And Samuel also, was such a pleasure to get to meet him. He smiled at me, Ivan. Okay? He smiled at me, okay?
Yeah, he got a smile.
I got a smile, okay?
He doesn't smile at everybody.
Ivan hasn't smiled at me in 5 years, so this is great to finally have somebody smile at me during work. You know, this is great. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. God bless you. I can't wait to see how it goes. We'll have you back again after the book comes out and hear how it's going,
Great.
okay? Terrific
Pleasure.
stuff.
Thank
All right, we'll take a break. We come back. It's Pastor Anthony McDaniel time here on the Pete O'Shea Show. Every Monday from 5 to 6, he's our regular. They got their revival going on tonight. I'm sure he's going to want to weigh in on the election as we get closer. And we'll see what else he's got to say when we come back. You know him. He has no filter. He's cray-cray. But in a good way, in a Jesus kind of way. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, guys. I love you, and I love Jesus.